The Dallas-Fort Worth community always says yes to supporting elementary students, and now that yes can win you a brand new 2022 truck. DFW Yes provides school supplies to more than 78,000 students across Texas. Give your yes today by purchasing raffle tickets in our Drive Away for Education truck raffle sponsored by Thomas J. Henry. The grand prize winner will choose from a new Ram, Chevrolet, GMC, Ford, or Nissan truck. Plus, you could win a shopping spree or gas card. Purchase your raffle ticket today at dfwyes.org.
I'm Greg Tepper. That's Greg Powers. This is This Week
in Cruton.
It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers of Next Level Ath. I keep saying it. Greg Powers, our recruiting list here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScout. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. And, of course, this is brought to you by our good chicken friends at Chicken Express. Chicken Express.
We have the logo now.
The logo just made me salivate, like for real.
It is like, yeah. There's like what is this, Pavlov's dogs of like they train them to salivate whenever the bell rings. Like you see that yellow and red, you see that flying chicken, you're like, I want the chicken.
Yeah.
So for those not able to, those who see us on the video, we have a monitor that shows what the video with the
It's right there.
cameras are
Right there
showing.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we can see the lower third, and like there's a lot of stuff on it, and we're on the video, but my eyes just like zoned in directly to the Chicken Express logo, and I was like,
There's something beautiful and inspiring about when you're on a drive.
what a great logo.
You're on a drive, and then like over the horizon,
Yeah.
It's like the sun coming
rising,
up.
you see the yellow, that flying chicken, and you're like, oh, tendies ahoy!
I can really relate to this going out to these high schools, across the state. You're always driving and you're like looking for that place to stop to eat, and you're really holding out for Chicken Express. You know what I mean? That's really what you're doing. You're like, oh, well, maybe there'll be a Chicken Express on the next exit.
Yeah, and let me tell you,
I know where they're at.
And there's nothing. There's nothing worse than like settling too. You know what I mean? Like you're on the road trip and you're like, I'm just starving, and there's a gas station here. I'll just stop and I'll get something here and fill up and do one stop, and then inevitably 2 miles down the road, there's a Chicken Express.
There's one in between Dallas and Houston. I'm going to guess it's 75 miles north of Huntsville. I don't know what city it's in. It's a Chicken Express, and there's a gas station and like a truck stop, and that's it. But that Chicken Express right there is like the Mecca. Like it's my new. The Hillsboro location is always like the OG. Like the Hillsboro location is like the OG. But this is like salvation, right? Because if you're coming either way.
So on 45?
Yeah.
Yep. I know the exact one you're talking about.
North of Huntsville.
It's almost like built out like a Sonic 2, where they have the car things that you can pull in.
I know exactly the one, because I make a lot of work trips and personal trips down to Houston. So like every single time I'm like, oh, I want to stop.
I'm hitting it up. The sweet tea there is
trying
excellent.
to see, yeah. I'm looking for it. We'll come.
We'll
up with
find
an
it.
answer.
To do next week, I not only have to prove that I can be in Texas, but I will find out which Chicken Express.
We got a big Cruton coming up next week.
We do. It's a big episode next week.
Is this like a test I should study for? I'm going to study for it.
It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers. Let's start with our prospect on the rise. Prospect on the rise, going down to Houston to Conroe Oak Ridge. Talk about their soon-to-be senior defensive end, Joseph Jonah Ajanye, who picked up an invite this week from the Under Armour All-America game. He was at the UC Report Camp in Houston and was a star there. I don't know what took the folks at Under Armour so long. The man's got 25 offers, including Texas A&M, Notre Dame, Oklahoma, Oregon, et cetera, et cetera. He's number 54 in the DCTF Hot 100, which makes him very technically a 3-star. And this is the perfect example of a guy you're just like, dang, our stupid, rigid standards.
Well, I feel that pain a lot. I feel that pain constantly, because there are a lot of guys out there who deserve it. And as a matter of fact, we have plans to update our 2024 DCTF Rising Hot 100 next week. And I think this is a guy who could move into that 4-star range. Nothing is cemented yet. The article hasn't been written. The players haven't been uploaded into the system. But in my mind's eye, I think that he has a really good shot at it. And really he passes the eyeball test. He's getting better from a technique standpoint. I mean, I think just like even watching the highlights of his last season game by game versus like watching his entire highlight package, you saw his progression from a technical standpoint, or his technique got better game by game. Really good week for Conroe Oak Ridge as well, because our number 7 player in the DCTF Hot 100, Justin Williams, had the fastest time at that camp. A linebacker with a 4.44 40. Again, a linebacker was the fastest man at the UC Report camp
That is frightening.
in Houston
That is
with the 4.4 40. So Conroe Oak Ridge is like a premier destination for college coaches in the spring evaluation period. Those 2 guys aren't it. They've got about 5 guys in this class who are really drawing major D1 attention, and it's full of young up-and-coming stars as well. So congrats to Conroe Oak Ridge. Joseph Jonah
Ajanya.
Ajanya.
Just say it confidently.
Well, I mean, I had it all confident until you nailed it, and then it like deflated me.
Let's move on to our commit of the week. Our commit of the week, we're going to South Oak Cliff. Perhaps you've heard of them. To talk about their soon-to-be senior linebacker, Brandon Jones, who committed this week to North Texas.
I was hyped about this one.
Yeah.
He and he is to put in perspective, he's number 64 in the DCTF Rising Hot 100. He's a 3-star. He had offers from places like Ole Miss, from Michigan State, from Louisville, from K-State, Colorado, Mizzou. He had offers from all over, and yet here come the Mean Green reeling in Brandon Jones.
You were rattling off those offers, and I just quit typing.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't even go to the T's.
No.
Like, Texas Tech had offered him TC. Like, I just like, oh, well, that's plenty of enough P5 offers to put this into perspective, right? Like, here's 7, 8, 10, of P5 offers that go to the M's. So everybody was after him. He was the highest rated UNT commit since we started doing rankings or publishing rankings that we backdated back to 2012.
Wow. So at least in a decade.
Yeah.
Wow.
That is super impressive. This man had 199 tackles.
Yeah.
And, okay, I'm not going to cuss.
Please don't.
I'm not going to. But I said, when I got the stats, right, I just playing around, I reached out to some of my buddies over at South Oak Cliff, and I was like, this is bullcrap, right? Question mark? Just playing around.
It's got to be
They're
wrong.
like, no,
Yeah.
those are real tackles. And I believe that, too, because I watched him play in 3 games last year, and he had well over 10 tackles in all of those games, and they played 16 games.
If I may, and again, he's a freak show. He was a star on the South Oak Cliff defense, which was one of the best defenses in the state last year, led them to a state championship. Here's a hot take. I think he had the biggest play of their state championship win.
Okay.
He was the guy who got the safety.
Yep.
If you remember, middle of the second quarter, P&G's up 10-3, and they have the ball, although deep in their own territory, and Brandon Jones comes up with the safety, and that, to me, gave South Oak Cliff the spark that they needed. Now, P&G went down and scored again and made it 17-5,
right.
But to me, that was a South Oak Cliff team
They were playing flat.
that was floundering. It was floundering, and they needed a spark, and Brandon Jones gave it to him. He was a star in that game.
I was on the sidelines on the South Oak Cliff side during that play, and you could feel the energy shift. I agree with you 100%. What I love about this kid, though, is his ability to read and diagnose and get downhill. He wastes no time. Like, he's extremely smart and intelligent, and you can only rack up that many tackles if you know what you're doing. He's a film rat. He's a guy who studies film and hangs around his defensive coordinator all the time. Loves talking ball. Just a football playing dude. North Texas got him a football playing dude, and that's like the highest compliment. If you follow Texas high school football and you get a football playing dude,
then
you've
doing
done
okay.
something.
Yeah, Brandon Jones. You don't find yourself in the right place at the right time 199 times in a season. It's This Week in Recruiting with Greg Powers here on Texas Football Today. Get involved in the conversation at #TF Today. Let's roll on to our underclassmen of the week, down to Central Texas, to Pflugerville Weiss, to talk about their soon-to-be junior wide receiver, Adrian Wilson, who is the latest DCTF 4-star prospect And to celebrate, he got an offer from Arizona State.
Yeah.
That joins offers from places like Texas Tech, UTSA, Baylor, Houston, Arizona, etc. He was a guy who was a second-team All-District guy, but the numbers don't really do him justice. There is the upside here feels really, really high.
Yeah, no doubt. Wilson is a guy who plays over the top.
Mm-hmm.
He's long arms, huge catch radius, has unbelievable vertical ability. Justifiably one of the top wide receivers in the state, will be one of the top wide receivers in the country in the 2025 cycle. And really, look, Pflugerville Weiss, they're loaded.
Mm-hmm.
This is a school in Syntax that you should not be sleeping on because they have a number of top-tier talents in that program, including safety Peyton Morgan in the class of 2024, Chad Otutu, big-time defensive tackle who I think really is going to take off. So if you're a college coach listening to this and you want to go by there and see Adrian Wilson, he's a guy with 9 offers who should have 20 already. So just go ahead and pull the trigger. Go ahead, plan your trip. Go through Pflugerville Weiss and see the talent that they're collecting down there because it's impressive.
Yeah, they are going to be a force down there in Central Texas, and a big reason why is their star wide receiver, Adrian Wilson. Let's round it all out with our Recruit of the Week. For our Recruit of the Week, let's bounce up to the DFW Metroplex to talk about Forney's soon-to-be senior defensive back, Aaron Flowers, who has named a top 10. He's going to announce April 7th, so that would be
Next
Friday.
Next Friday. Thank
Yep.
you. Next Friday. His top 10, he's a DCF 4-star, number 22 in the DCTF Rising Hot 100, number 22 player in the state. He's going to be picking between Baylor, Michigan State, Texas Tech, Oklahoma, Alabama, Washington, Louisville, Oregon, Tennessee, and USC. I wonder if he'll have 10 hats on the table. That'd be awesome.
I think you'll have less than 10 hats.
Okay. Do you
Maybe we narrow it down to 5 this week.
and now here with the here to spoil the announcement because he's an insider is Greg Powers.
I'm going to put my Aaron Flowers hats on the table right
Okay,
now.
yeah,
If
let's
I'm
go.
Aaron
There you go. You
Flowers,
got the-
here are
you
the
got
hats.
the-
Here are
thanks
the
for
hats
bringing
that
them,
I'm putting in. I'm going with Oklahoma,
Okay.
Alabama,
Okay.
and USC. That's my 3 hats. A lot of times they do 5, but I'm going to go with 3 for Aaron Flowers. I think those are the most realistic options. He announced his intentions to commit on April 7th, less than 48 hours off of finishing a set of trips to USC and Alabama. Oklahoma has been a constant threat in his recruitment. He's made multiple trips up there. Brent Venables and the OU staff is very defensive oriented, and I think the Sooners have a really good shot here. But there is a school that's riding a wave of momentum in Texas right now behind the scenes, and that is USC. USC, because they have been in the game with Lincoln Riley on some of the kids in this class from a very early stage, I think USC is going to be a major player for a lot of Texas talent in this cycle.
Interesting.
And so that's a school that I'm watching very closely in this. I mean, Alabama behind Nick Saban is always going to be a factor. You don't want to go against Alabama, and he has what I would consider as a well-developed relationship at OU. So it'll be very interesting to see where he ends up, but those are the 3 hats that I'm rolling with. And it's officially commitment season.
Yeah.
It's commitment season right now in Texas high school football. There's going to be a huge run of commits as we go into April and through the first 2 or 3 weeks of April. A lot of guys are going to come off the board, and that's going to kind of change the landscape in a big way. And this year, I'm sorry, in-state fans, there are a lot of guys. There are a lot of talented guys going to leave the state.
You think
this
there's
year.
going to be a lot of exports?
There's going to
Boo.
be a lot of exports.
I don't
this
like
year.
that.
Oregon, USC, Alabama, Georgia, Arizona State, Nebraska, all these. I mean, Purdue, Purdue is like because of Graham Harrell has been like a sneaky kind of presence with some of these guys. There's a lot of schools really trying to come in and take advantage of a loaded class, and really, honestly, like for some of these top guys, they're in a wait and see approach with a couple of schools in state like Texas and Texas A&M. That I think that's the mode that they're in, and Texas Tech is an in-state school that I think is taking advantage of that. And we'll hear a little bit more of Texas Tech with Micah Hudson.
Ooh, good tease.
Where will Aaron Flowers bloom? We'll find out next Friday.
Well done.
sure he's never heard that
one
before.
person who we never worry about blooming. It's Greg Powers, our recruiting analyst here at Dave Campbell's Texas Football. Follow him on Twitter at GPowersScout. See his fine work at TexasFootball.com/recruiting. Powers, stick around because I want you to tell me who you're talking to.
Okay.
I know who it is, but
I'll do it
we'll
for
do
you.
the stagecraft.
I'll do it for you. And Pickle.
Thanks.
Mainly me.
Thanks so much for watching that video. If you would like more and to be notified when they come out, go ahead and click that subscribe button right down there. You can also watch Texas Football Today every day live at noon on TexasFootball.com, Facebook, Twitch, and right here on YouTube. For more of the best coverage of Texas football in the Lone Star State, go to TexasFootball.com/subscribe.